Hey guys! Welcome! Hello! This is my dog. My dog. I love her so much. Say hi, Luna. Hi, I'm a sassy girl. She's a sassy girl. I'm Jules. This is my YouTube channel. I can't believe I actually finally made one, but it's been a long time coming, and I've slowly started migrating to using more video through Insta stories, and I found that it was just such a great way to connect with you guys. And I've met so many of my friends through Instagram and social media, so I figured why not tap into the YouTube world and see what other awesome people are out there. So here I am creating a video in my apartment. I live in New York. I live in Brooklyn. So basically, for this first video, I wanted to talk about how I got into blogging. This is something that a lot of people have asked me about. I've been consulting other bloggers about how to break into the business, how to monetize, and all things like that. But besides the business of blogging, I really wanted to dig more into what inspired me to want to write. I guess I'll just dig right in. So it all started back in 2011. I was in college, and I was in a pretty dark time in my life, and I kind of touched on this when I did the Mind Body Green takeover, kind of talking about pretty much how I had a really bad relationship with food and my body, and I was just struggling a lot with finding balance. And I had an eating disorder, I was depressed, I was feeling really anxious, and I was juggling college and 2 internships. But one of the internships was at a yoga studio, so that's how I got into yoga. And I'm happy to make a video talking more in depth about that experience. But trying to focus in back on blogging, I started getting really into the blog Your Zen Life. It was started by 2 Australian actresses, Teresa Palmer and Phoebe Tonkin. So back then I was really obsessed with the Vampire Diaries, and Teresa Palmer has just kind of been on my radar for a while. Phoebe was in the Vampire Diaries, but Teresa, she's been in other films and things like that. But she's this beautiful Australian holistic mama, and I've always been really inspired by her, and I always have looked up to her. So I followed them on Twitter up until the launch of Your Zen Life. And as soon as it launched, I was just so obsessed. Like, I read every single article that ever came out. I felt like all the contributors were so wise and had so much good information to share. One of the articles talked about coconut oil and didn't talk about using it for your skin, but they talked about like eating it in your food. And I was thinking like, okay, this is cool. I've never used coconut oil before. I started researching more about it, and I read that you can use it on your skin. I had really bad cystic acne, like all on my cheeks. They were so painful. I couldn't pop them. There was nothing I could do but just deal with it. But I was trying, I was using benzoyl peroxide, minocycline pills, birth control. I tried so many things, and my face felt just so irritated. I looked like a tomato every time I washed my face. It was just this burning sensation. I just never felt good when I had to take my makeup off at the end of the day. I started using coconut oil on my skin morning and night. I used it for a month. My skin did break out at first. It was just detoxing all of the chemicals and all of the dirt and grime that was built up in my skin, causing my acne. After a month, my skin completely cleared up. Like, I have never seen this in my life. I have been trying so many things for years at this point to get my skin clear, but coconut oil was truly the only thing that actually worked. I was just so happy that I figured out that it was just cutting out the chemicals. So I started cutting out the chemicals in my skincare routine. So I was washing my face with Dr. Bronner's Castile soap. I was using coconut oil for moisturizer, and then I was using tea tree oil as like an astringent for like spot treatment for any little zits I would get here and there. And then I was using shea butter to fade my acne scars. And this just worked miracles on me. So I was so happy that I figured this out, and I wanted to share it with more people. So I reached out to Your Zen Life, and I said, hey, I would love to contribute to your site and write about my experience with natural skincare. So it took like a couple months for them to get to my email, but they finally did. And like, I had already written the article for them and just pitched it. I didn't know if they'd ever see it, and I didn't know if it would ever get published, but I pitched it. A couple months later, they're like, we love it. It's gonna go live this week. stay tuned. So I was just freaking out because one, Your Zen Life was just such an inspirational source for me that to be published on that site felt incredible. Later that week, my article was published, and I didn't realize it was published until I started getting tweets from all these strangers and emails. I started getting I probably got a dozen emails in one day, and I was getting tons of tweets. And I'm not active on Twitter at all. I'm not active now, and I wasn't active back then, but I linked my Twitter in my article back when I was Zen Jules or something. So people were tweeting me saying oh my gosh, this is such a great idea, I'm gonna try it, I wanna know more, what do you do for makeup? And they're just asking me all these questions. It was that article that kind of got me really excited about the wellness industry, and from there I started eliminating toxins and chemicals, not just from my skin, but also from the food I was eating. So I was starting to eat really, really clean. I was practicing yoga regularly. I was feeling really healthy and good in my skin finally. So yeah, I just kind of flipped a switch, and I just wanted to be as holistic as possible, eat whole foods. I wanted to wear natural to minimal makeup, and just wanted to eat, sleep, and breathe this wellness world because that's what was making me really happy. So I started writing more articles with Your Zen Life. And throughout that time, I've had a lot of people. I started accumulating a small little community of people that read my articles and wanted more. And they pretty much encouraged me to start my own blog because there were definitely other things that I wanted to talk about, and I would have loved to just have it on my own platform. But it wasn't until October of 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, I think October 2013, when I reached out to Andrew Acree. Now, Andrew is my boyfriend of 3.5 years, and we go way back, and this is a whole other vlog story later, but we go way back to high school and didn't talk for 7 years. And then I reached out on Facebook and asked him to design my blog, and that is how we reconnected, and we are dating today. So he lives here too. So yeah, Andrew charged me a whopping $80 to design my website, which is so cheap, you guys. If you've ever looked into website building, it costs in the thousands. So the fact that he charged me $80 is really shocking. So I guess he really liked me because that is a very cheap price. So fast forward, January 2014, I launched my blog, and at the time I was working full-time in the bridal industry. I was a design assistant. I didn't love my job. I loved everyone that I worked with, but I did not find fulfillment from the everyday. I started blogging on the side. I didn't tell anybody at work what I was doing because there are some catty people out there, and everyone's just kind of nosy, and I didn't want people in my business because my blog was just being very vulnerable. It was me opening up my heart. So to have people mock that, I just didn't want to have that happen. So it was really just my family and any of my close Facebook friends, because I only had about 200 people on Facebook at the time. I went through and purged pretty much anyone who wasn't close to me. Fast forward, I decided to quit my job in the bridal industry. I decided 10 o'clock the night before that I was going to turn in my notice, and I didn't have a plan except I knew I wanted to travel. So I quit, and it took about a week to figure that out, and I decided now's the time. I'm gonna get my yoga teacher training, get it done, feel really good, and start, just dig deeper into my practice, start teaching whatever my heart wants after the training. So I enrolled in a YTT that was based in Nicaragua, which was so amazing. And while I was there, I was just hit with this feeling that my blog was onto something, that I needed to put more energy into sharing it with people. I needed to get over my fear of promoting myself and stop worrying about what other people thought, stop worrying about using too many hashtags. I needed to push my content out there because I knew I was a good writer, and I knew what I was talking about, meant something to me and the small community that I had. When I got back from Nicaragua, I felt the pressure to start teaching, but then I also felt the pressure to find a freaking job because I didn't have one, and the pressure to hold on to all that momentum that I felt to start revving up my blog and really promoting. I found a job within 2 weeks of returning with a jewelry brand, and I wasn't there very long, to be honest. I thought it was more of a marketing role, and some part of it was, but then there was a lot of turnover, and I started doing a lot of customer service and like shipping and things like that. And while like that's a good experience, that is not what I was passionate about, and that is not what I took the job for. So I ended up leaving about 6 months later and working for a tech startup. My camera died. Okay, so this is already too long, but let me try to speed it up. I started working for a tech startup. My boss hated me for some reason. I was miserable. My blog was really taking off, and I was getting a lot of interest from freelance clients, and I ended up taking on some clients as one-off gigs or, more long-term gigs, and actually just didn't need that job anymore. So I had made a plan to leave. Things kind of got a little, whatever. Things went down. I didn't leave on the best note, but I had been planning to leave and was just trying to figure out the best way to go about it. But everything ended up working out exactly as it should have. When I let go of what was holding me back, all the opportunities that I had ever wanted started coming through. And it wasn't from extra outreach on my end. They were coming to me, and I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. So it was just more reassurance that I was on the path that I was supposed to be on. Since then, I've been blogging full time. I've been working on the side with clients in social media strategy. I've been consulting with other bloggers through Skype and giving them, advice on business and monetization and just an overall brand strategy. And it's been so amazing. I'm so grateful for it. And yeah, I have this chance to expand into the world, and I want to reach more people and just have more conversation, more thoughtful discussions. I want to learn more. I want to absorb. I want to be a freaking sponge. So here I am, bearing my heart and soul to YouTube, and I just hope that people are here to receive and that you guys enjoy it. That's my story of how I got started blogging. If you have more specific questions, I do have a couple blog posts on self-employment and what I've learned from being self-employed so far. This has been such a great learning experience, and building something from scratch was just, and to see it grow and to finally take off is just a really amazing feeling. So I hope that I can share more insight with you guys in the future. And if you have questions, please email me. Leave comments. That's how I get better, and that's how I can give you content that you really enjoy. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to this long ass story. I could have talked so much more, but I will cap it there. All right, guys. Bye. Hope you have a great week. Mwah.